Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text number 16 onwards. The chapter is entitled as Transcendental Knowledge. So in these verses, Krishna talks about something known as karma, Vikrama and Akarma. So while transcendental knowledge which we have been learning in this chapter helps one to clear up philosophical doubts, it also helps one to clear up their karmic bank balance. It is our karmic bank balance that makes us suffer, go through major setbacks, disappointments in life. But if we have transcendental knowledge, this karmic bank balance can be neutralized. So karma is a universal law of nature. Essentially it means for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. While bad karma is obviously undesirable, Krishna further explains that even good karma should be avoided, since it is something that binds us or keeps us bound to material existence. So even good is not enough. So beyond good and bad are activities performed on the spiritual level, that is action which yields no reaction and ultimately frees one from the anxieties and entanglements of this world. So such action is known as Akarma. Akarma means activities performed in relation to God. So these type of activities, or say when we add God to whatever we are doing, then that same activity becomes akarmic or akarma. It does not yield any further reaction, rather it helps us nullify the previous reactions, and it also helps us get elevated beyond good and bad and move towards the liberating stage. Only akarma can help us truly evolve, and only akarma can truly neutralize our past karmic balance. So we start from text number 16. I just summarize what Krishna is going to speak in these verses 16 to 24, but now we are going verse by verse. Text 16. Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayo api yatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshyami yajgyatva mokshashe shubhat. So Krishna is saying even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. So simply working or performing our karma is not enough. We should know how it should be done with proper knowledge. Text 17. Karmano hi api bodhavyam cha vikarmanah akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gati. Even Krishna acknowledges the fact that it is very difficult to understand the intricacies of karma. He says the intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. So he is explaining what is karma, vikarma and akarma. One should thoroughly understand. Karma means good deeds, being good, doing good to others. Punya it is called, or pious activities. Vikarma means bad deeds, engaging in sinful activities through our words and actions that will lead to future suffering. And akarma means inaction. That doesn't mean we don't act, but we act but it does not produce any reaction. Therefore it is called akarma, or activities performed on a spiritual level. Text 18. Karmanya akarma yah pashyed akarmani cha karma yah sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayuktah kritsna karmakrit. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. यस्य सर्वे समारंभाः काम संकल्प वर्जिताः ज्ञानाग्नि दग्ध कर्माणं तमाहु पंडितं बुधा. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Text 20. Tyaktva karma phalasangam nitya tripto nirashrayah karmanye abhipravritto abhi naiva kinchit karoti saha. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. So what Krishna is trying to explain here is the activity of a person who is truly engaged in akarma. Even though he acts in this world, but is not attached to the results. He is only attached to doing his duty, and that's how we must always act. Now, it does not mean that we don't expect a specific result in accordance with our karma. What it means is we do our best as our duty, and then after doing our best, whatever result comes, we accept it wholeheartedly, happily. Every time we say or think, I wish I had more, I wish I had this, I wish it wasn't like this, we are sowing a seed for future suffering and future entanglement, future bondage to the law of karma. Because every seed sown must fructify in due course of time. So simply by accepting both the good and bad results that come, tolerating them, and continue to work as if we are duty bound to work, we will neutralize both good and bad reactions, and thus we proceed on the path of liberation. How do we tolerate good? By not becoming proud and remaining humble, sober. We tolerate it, understand the Lord's grace, and the failures we accept it as the result of our own past karma. So you must know, when we are going through happy situation in life, or when we get whatever we want, it is exhausting our good karma, because this is coming against that good stock of karma. When we go through failures, setbacks, disappointments, we are neutralizing our bad karma. So understanding this, we keep just moving towards the destination. We keep performing our duties without being affected by the results, and that becomes a karma. And whatever good and bad comes, after performing our best work, we just offer the results at the lotus feet of God. Just like we say Krishna Arpanam, whatever comes, it's His grace. Whether it's a failure or success, we accept both, and we keep doing our duty without getting distracted or deviated. And such a person is supposed to be engaged in all types of actions, but still he is not considered to be engaged, because he is not affected by the results. So it is as good as not working, only he is not producing any further reaction. So by being not attached or affected by the results of our activities, we are actually not producing any further reaction. We just accept whatever comes without having thinking, oh, I wish it was like this, I wish I had this. Okay, whatever comes, we must be attached to doing our duty, and then whatever comes, we accept it. That's it. That should be the spirit. Text 21. Nirashir yata chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan napnoti kilbisham. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. So that means his mind and intelligence are perfectly controlled, and he does not think that whatever he has is his. It's all God's grace, living in that consciousness. Then whatever he has is akarmic only. But that doesn't mean he doesn't keep anything for himself. How much we should keep for ourselves? Whatever is required to survive, the bare necessities of life, and the rest must be utilized in serving or expanding God consciousness in this world and doing good work to society, helping the needy, poor, not just on the level of body but at the level of soul, not just giving them food, clothing, shelter, but also raising their consciousness to God consciousness. That's how a person in this world utilizes his wealth, resources, time, and that way everything that he has becomes a karmic. He keeps whatever is required for his subsistence or maintenance, and the rest he keeps using. That is the way to live. That's how we can be like in this world but not of this world. We cannot be affected by any reactions. The moment we start thinking less or more, we are implicated. But the moment we start accepting whether it's less or more without even thinking and continuing our duty and keeping our consciousness fixed on God, then everything that we do is a karmic, it becomes worship. Yadricha labha santushto dvandva tito vimatsaraha samaha siddhava siddhau cha kritvapi na nibadhyate. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. The same thing Krishna is explaining here. One is not affected by the ups and downs or dualities of life. He remains equiposed. Such a person is never entangled, although he is engaging in actions, but since equiposed, he is not producing any further reaction. He understands whatever good and bad is coming. He just absorbs that. He just accepts that as the result of his own past karma. And that way he is not affected. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasaha yaggaya charatah karma samagram praviliyate. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. So such a person who is unattached to the results, his every action is becoming spiritual. Merges entirely into transcendence means it becomes spiritual by nature, who is unattached to the or unaffected by the results. Understanding why he is achieving this result, past karma, and he just keeps his eyes focused on the ultimate goal of self-realization, and therefore he is not affected because his eyes are fixed on something else, something higher. So whatever is happening on a lower level, it doesn't bother him so much because he is fully clear that his goal is something else. Text 24. Brahmarpanam brahmahavir brahmagno brahmana hutam brahmeva tena gantavyam brahma karma samadhina. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. So a person who is God conscious, he is definitely sure to attain spiritual kingdom, because whatever consciousness a person cultivates, to that state, to that destination, to that body, to that kingdom, he shall attain without fail. And whatever consciousness we cultivate will depend on the kind of karmas we engage in. So a person who has practiced living his life in this way, that he is performing his activities, prescribed duties, while simultaneously trying to fix his consciousness on God, while simultaneously trying to utilize the profits or the fruits of his actions in the service of God, such a person can remain fixed in this consciousness even at the time of death. And later on Krishna will explain in the 8th chapter that a person who is able to maintain this divine consciousness, he can enter the kingdom of God. He has explained in the last verse of the 2nd chapter also. So essentially, karma, vikarma, akarma. We have to understand, some people become very sentimental. Oh, I am just serving poor people and serving the needy. I am serving society. That's my service to God. No, that is different. That becomes your service to God only when your service is helping those people, those poor souls, get connected to God. Then it becomes your service to God. Otherwise, it is just false ego, just to feel better. Oh, I am helping so much. There is that subtle false ego when we do good to others and we feel inside, oh, I have fed so many people, I have done this good work. So that's just subtle false ego, feeding our false ego. So we have to understand that is known as pious activity, punya, which is also required. But we can't mix both. So pious activities will give us result in good birth, but within the material world only, that is karma. Any good work minus God is known as punya. And Vikrama, sinful activities. There are 4 pillars of sinful life. They are meat eating, intoxication, illicit affairs, and gambling. And unfortunately, if you talk about these things today's day and age, because they become like a part of everyone's life, people think this person is just being too fanatic. No, it is not being fanatic, it is just stating the facts. And it is just to save everyone from future suffering. We are just talking scriptures. If anybody engages in any of these activities and subsets of these 4 activities, there is going to be future suffering. No doubts about it. Then we cannot complain, why am I facing so many impediments, setbacks, failures in life, so much mental stress? Because we have broken the laws of God. We have engaged in these sinful activities some way or the other. Just because everyone is doing it doesn't mean it's right. Right is right even if no one does it, and wrong is wrong even if everyone does it. And mind you, your good karma will not nullify the bad karma. One cannot think, oh, in this week I have done some 7 bad karmas, so let me do 9 good karmas tomorrow, so 9 minus 7 is 2. No, good karma does not nullify the bad. The only thing that will protect us from the reactions to bad, when they start manifesting, bad karma reactions manifest in our life in the form of mental distress, legal implications, or birth in a very poor family, or chronic disease. These are all results of bad karma. So the only way to nullify the bad, the reactions to bad, and even rise beyond good is spiritual credits or akarmic activities, or activities which are performed in the or in relation to God, like hearing about Him, chanting His name, even partaking of food which is offered to Him, that is prasad, then praying to Him, having His darshan, serving His deity form, study of scriptures. These are the activities which we must be engaging in on a regular basis, not because God needs it, but because we need it. So karma is good deeds, vikarma is bad, but both are binding. But to rise beyond both, we need to engage in akarma, which will not just nullify the past reactions, the bad, which will not just help us rise above the bondage due to the good, it will also help us neutralize the reactions due to good and bad and rise above both, and help us attain the ultimate goal of life, which is self-realization, God realization, which will help us, the souls, enter our real home, the kingdom of God. We have to remind ourselves again and again, we are not the residents of this material world, we are the residents of the spiritual world. That's where we belong. But as long as the soul engages in anything but akarma, it will remain stuck. Even if it engages in good work, it will have to stay stuck in the material realm. So we have to connect with God, we have to connect with Krishna, primarily through the chanting of His names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is the most powerful way, and that way gradually all our past reactions, karmic bank balance can be neutralized. Even one name is enough, what to speak of if we are chanting it on a regular basis consciously. So this is about karma, akarma and vikarma, although it's a vast topic, but I just briefly summarized. So maybe later on in some of the chapters we will come across this topic again where I can elaborate on this. Thank you so much.